conversation I wish someone had with me when I was younger. So if you're starting any kind of formal education, be it secondary school, university, even your NYC or adulthood, this video is for you. Now, nobody prepared you for life after school, and the questions that came with it. Questions like, how do I handle stress? How do I handle money? How do I handle failure? How do I make decisions when I'm confused? I'm your internet auntie, Lady Lara, a mom of 3 and a lecturer, and I've watched brilliant students struggle. Not because they're not intelligent, but because intelligence alone is not enough for life. Many schools have resumed, and the pressure for students to fulfill their goals is on the rise. But before you jump into this academic year, you need to hear this. School trains your mind while life teaches you how to choose. Now, let's be fair. School is doing what it needs to do. Now, this video disclaimer is not to bash school, but basically helping young people know that while you're in school, you need to be building certain skills to make life easier for you. Now, school teaches discipline, school teaches structure, school teaches literacy, and school actually gives you the credentials you need to move on in life. But the thing about life is, life gives you different exams, different from the next person, and we all go through different challenges. But you need to be prepared with certain things, certain awareness to make you know how to navigate this life with a little bit of ease. Now for this video, we are going lecturer mode, right? So the very first shock I had when I came out of school was the issue about money. Now, I've always known about money, like I've always been money conscious because, I was born with a silver spoon, but I lost the spoon. So I always knew a little bit about money. But after a while, it becomes so obvious that nobody taught you how to budget. Nobody taught you how to delay gratification. Nobody taught you how to say no to pressure spending. It's not because you're not responsible, but the thing about money is that sometimes it is more emotional than logical. Many people don't overspend because they're irresponsible. They overspend because of pressure. They overspend because they are anxious. They spend because they're just trying to feel among. Now, bad money decisions don't only empty your pockets, they actually limit your options. So if you're listening to me right now, start small. Track what comes in and also track what goes out. Awareness is the first step. And when money becomes tight, something else happens. When money is tight, time becomes urgent, because I think it goes hand in hand. Once you're broke, there's just that feeling that you get. And there's one thing that school did for us. School actually had time for certain things. Once you wake up, when your class starts, when your class ends. But in life, nobody is ringing a bell. Nobody checks if you woke up early. Nobody checks if you went to class. Nobody checks if you have eaten. Except poverty. Poverty will ring that bell. Now, time management is not about planners. Time management is about self-management. How do you manage your time? How do you know what is good for you and what is not good for you? How do you do away with certain things that do not serve? Because if you don't decide what your time is for, distractions will just walk in and be like, "Hey girl, you're looking for me?" Every night, ask yourself 3 questions. What is that one thing that will help me move closer to my goals? What is that one thing I need to stop or reduce? And last but not the least, what time of the day am I most alert? Morning or night? Now, back then when I was in school, you see some students going to read in the night because one of their friends is doing TDB. Auntie, are you a night or morning person? These are things I normally ask my students, because it's not about copying, it's about knowing yourself. And one thing everyone has, I've said this in one of my videos, everyone has 24 hours. Are you rich? Are you poor? Are you an influencer? What matters is how you use those 24 hours. The difference is who is in control of these impulses of yours. And impulses don't just affect time, they actually affect your emotions. The next point is one skill that everyone talks about, or it's like the trendy thing on Twitter. Oh, he's not emotionally intelligent. Oh, Benny, what is it? I think we just use that word anyhow, but many times we don't know what emotional intelligence is, and I'm going to do us the honors. Now, emotional intelligence is knowing what you feel, why you're feeling it, and you not allowing that feeling of yours to affect something that you want to do. Most bad decisions are not made because people are foolish or irresponsible. Most of these bad decisions are made because emotions are everywhere. Emotions choke. and you may not know how to handle those emotions. Is it anger? Is it sadness? Is it ego? Is it pressure? Or basically you not knowing when to react to certain things. And being in Africa, they carry last. If somebody gives you bass, you give them boost. But many a times, if you truly want to be an emotionally intelligent person, you need to know what those emotions are telling you. And one thing you need to know is that emotions are not real. Of course, they are indicators of certain things. Basically, they are informations, but they are not the instruction. So if you're feeling something, you need to know how to handle your emotions, when to talk, how to talk. Some emotions that you feel are supposed to be processed, not expressed. You feel the rise? So when these emotions are loud, trust me, wisdom goes out the window. You're like, who are you? Who are you? You're just all over the place and you don't know how to respond properly. And that's why I see some people having a beef for over 10 years. And if you ask them what happened, he said this, she said that. Basically out of what? Anger. And this is where the B word comes into play. Come on, not baby. Boundaries. Now, boundaries are an emotional way of cleaning up your life where this thing doesn't work for me. I don't want this thing. This will not fly with me. It helps you. Now, have you wondered sometimes when you get home at night and then you're like, Lara, you too talk. You got emotional and then you just had a verbal diarrhea. But once you're emotionally intelligent, you know when to talk, you know how to talk, and you know who to talk to. Now, I see some students who approach you, ma, they failed me. How are you sure? Do you have proof? Because you were just very emotional about that exam. Of course, nobody likes to fail. But sometimes you may have written something, but what you have written, is it what the lecturer is looking for? These are questions that you need to ask yourself. Once emotions are in check, the next thing you need to do is think. And it brings me to my next point. Like I said before, let's be fair to school. School is doing what school needs to do. But as a person, there are skills that you need to have to be able to navigate life with ease. And one of those skills is critical thinking. School trains you to answer questions, but life punishes you for not asking those questions. You see people time without number. I should have just asked because they had to make a decision, but they felt, what if they don't answer me? What if they push me out the door? You will never know because you never asked. So critical thinking is asking, what is the cost? This thing that I want to do, would it favor me? This venture I want to go into, in the next 5 years, will I look back and be happy that I made this decision? And basically, our brains, like I always say, they like to protect you. So they like the shortcut. It's either yes or no. But you need to critically think. And that critical thinking slows you down. More like it gives you some level of perspective. And then you're able to at least answer questions to the best of your ability. Like I can remember back then when we were in our 500 level, a certain bank came and they were looking for, they were scouting for new staff. When they brought the question, I was seeing triangle, I was seeing this, I was seeing that. I was like, what is this? Now, this is something that they expected you to know. So it's important that as a young man or as a young lady, there are things you're supposed to have. Critical thinking being one of them. Not you shouting online, this is how I am. I'm an emotional being. Sometimes those emotions will put you in trouble. So you need to lock it. Put them in check. Many people do not know conflict resolution. Or basically, many people do not know how to handle a crisis. They shout, they scream. I'm not saying you should not express yourself. But many a times we were not given like a class on once you're feeling this particular emotion, pause, take your time out, feel it, and let it go. So once you're handling a crisis, you're panicking because at times once you start panicking, your nervous system gets activated and it doesn't do anything for you at that moment. So what you need to do is pause, sit down, change your position, analyze your situation, and re strategize. and then take just one step forward. You're not meant to know everything at the same time. I never knew how to fail. That's why over the years I've shed tears. I can remember back then in my 200 level where I failed my physics test. Like, I was so embarrassed because I've never failed in my life. I can remember my masters where I saw my result and I had a D and I cried. School teaches you that failure is bad, whereas life tells you that failure is feedback. And sometimes there is no class on resilience, knowing that, okay, it's fine to feel down, it's fine to fail. But what is important is not you sitting in that failure, is not you drowning in your sorrows, is you looking at it, taking it, analyzing, what do I need to do? How do I come back from this setback? Trust me, every strong person you've admired has failed. At the end of the day, they persevered, they were resilient. Like, I was having a conversation with one of my kids, right? Like, he's a grown man, but he's one of my kids. And he was telling me that what life has taught him, because I asked him a question, how are you? Like, all the house, how are the house howing? Like, I have funny ways of asking questions. And he was like, Lara, if I were to tell you the truth, it's not easy because he had to change his field. He's more like into, promoting of artists, he's into business, and he never had any form of mentorship, any guide. So it's like you are failing on your own, but you have to keep on moving because people depend on you. Artists are looking up to you, so you cannot afford to fail. Something you need to get for yourself: what? A community. Community is mentorship, and most importantly, asking the right questions. The system at times does not support that, but you need to know how to ask those questions. That is where being emotionally intelligent happens, where you're like, you want to ask a question, but you know the best way to coin it so that the person doesn't feel offended or annoyed. It's important that you build a community, people who think like you, people who want to do what you want to do. You have a mentor who guides you, who speaks life into you, who has walked that path so you do not have to, which I'm doing, you know what I'm saying? People who ask grow. People who assume stay in stagnant positions. He may not answer me, she may not answer me, so I'm not going to ask. Ask. The most you could get is a no. Or better, they will shout at you. But did it remove anything from your body? No. I said so. Go and ask the question. Also, networking. Networking is not about who you know. Networking is about what you learn from those people that you meet. So when you go for all these events or conferences, they say network, meet people. You go there, you meet somebody who knows something that you might know, an idea, a suggestion. So learn to network. As a microbiologist, I'm so sure that many students know how to draw a living cell, particularly maybe the animal cell. But how many of you can make good noodles? I'm one of them, I know, but I'm sure you cannot. They teach you how to draw the cell, or basically that skeleton where they say maybe learn, where we draw how many years ago. How is it helping you? So you're supposed to learn some level of independence, some level of confidence, basic life skills. There are many young men out there, or let's just say young people, who do not know how to make a meal, who have never washed plates in their life because I was not taught. These are things you need to know. Cooking is no longer a luxury, it's a survival skill, my dear. When there's no money, or better still, during COVID, you couldn't order food. How would you have survived? These are things you need to know as a young person. Don't say, it's for a girl or it's for a boy. Anything that you know will help in your survival. Changing bulb, changing sockets, go and learn. One skill that I wished I learned earlier is the art of negotiation. Like, I love it when I see salesmen or saleswomen closing the deal. I love it when a young man or a young woman knows how to negotiate, where she knows her true value. And that is where the act of learning how to negotiate comes from. Negotiation and communication are two life skills that you need, be it for your businesses or for your personal relationships. In this year, you guys are going to promise me, I don't want to hear, I don't know how to talk. Talking has not been my strong suit. Hello? Learn how to talk. There are books on how to talk. Information choke. All you have to do is just get into it. Put yourself into it. Like I had somebody ask me that, Ma, how do you talk? Now, talking is like follow come, is something that I do with ease. But that does not mean because you know how to carry on a conversation means that you know how to talk right and know how to talk well. So talking, you have to harness it. You have to build on it. Yes, you can talk. Yes, you have a good voice, but talk get talk. Negotiation is protection. It makes sure that you're not undervalued or underpriced. Now, I have an older friend who got a job somewhere, and she said she negotiated every single thing, her salary and the bonuses that she wanted. Now, people did not like her. They were like, how will somebody just come from nowhere and make some negotiations? Who asked you not to know how to negotiate? Who asked you not to know your value? These are things you need to know as a person. Let's even take it to the love lane. You see somebody who is not even up to your standard, but this because this guy just says the right things, and you're like, he may be rough around the edges, but na lie, lori raw. Know your value, know when to say no. Now, this negotiation should happen with friends, family members. Know how to articulate what you want, because negotiation sometimes will open doors that certificates cannot open. School seldom teaches you how to navigate your way through certain deals. You have to learn that by yourself. And also, communication is connection. Now, let me read this. Studies have shown that over 85% of career successes came from people with people skills, not technical knowledge. So communication is not a soft skill, it is a life skill. Learn how to communicate, learn how to buttress your point, learn how to say what you feel without offending anybody, but making sure that your value is still intact. Now remember, this channel is here to help young people, right? Make the right decisions. And I'm not here bashing school. Remember, I am in the academic system. But it's important that as a young person, there are certain things you need to know that will help you move forward in this life with ease. And those are some of the skills I listed in this video. Just have the best of both worlds. Learn the structure, learn how to negotiate. Learn the discipline, learn how to communicate. Now that you know better, you will choose better. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. So till I come your way next time, stay blessed and remember, your internet auntie loves you.